XO, Ryan Walters here in the K-League United bunker, along with Paul Neat. It's been a little while, not too long.
A couple weeks.
As you may guess from the wardrobe, it is very cold in Seoul right now.
Extremely cold.
Spoiler alert, that's where the K-League United bunker is. We're in Seoul. We've got a few things lined up today. We're going to talk about name changes, exciting name changes, appropriate name changes. We're going to talk a little bit about some supporters sections that have been highlighted. We also have a kit competition winner. So last time we talked about a kit competition. We have a winner from that. And speaking of kits, you may have noticed some new digs that I'm currently wearing and that Paul has here.
If I can just hold it up properly. There we go. Look at that.
Yeah. We'll talk about these a little bit more in a second, but pretty excited about these.
Yeah.
Some new duds for the year. But we got a lot going on, and any questions that you have coming in. I do see that our friend Scott Whitelock is watching. He was supposed to make his debut today, but
failed the late fitness test.
He did indeed.
But he's not dead, though, which is good to see.
He's not dead, which is great. We are happy he's still alive.
Get well soon, Scott.
See, I can say nice things about Suwon fans.
Only ones we know.
Only the ones we know. Yeah. So get well soon, Scott, and we'll see if we can give that physio a couple extra man-wan to get you out on the field next time. So anyway, let's hop right into this. First and foremost, we are done with K-League Classic and Challenge.
Yes.
Which
I'm very happy about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because many people who don't follow the K-League quite as religiously as we do had commented on that it didn't really lend itself to explaining which one was the top division and the second division. And also, I mean, this is not a stab at Hangul, but when you say the names in a Korean accent, Kuleshik, Chelinji, it's a bit daft, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing, I appreciate them trying something different. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well,
Yeah.
It's just simple. K-League 1, K-League 2. It's perfect.
Yeah, which much like any other league that does this, I don't think we're going to be referring to it as K-League 1 as much as K-League and then K2 or K-League 2.
Yeah.
Much like in Japan, you don't say J-League 1 or J1 as much as it's just J-League and then J2.
Yeah.
So
I'm very happy about it.
I'm quite pleased about it. Yeah.
Happy that Dejan are no longer a challenge team.
Yeah. Got out of the challenge.
Finally.
Well done, Dejan.
Yeah.
And I mean, no matter what happens, the Dragons cannot be relegated to challenge this year.
Never.
Never going to happen.
That's right.
Well done, Dragons. You did it.
Yeah.
It's a name change that I think makes a lot of sense. Where it doesn't make sense is a little further down the table now, because we have K-League 1, K-League 2, National League, and then K3.
Yeah, so K3 is actually the fourth tier.
Yeah.
And the K3, I do believe, is split into two anyway, with some interesting names. K3 Advanced, K3 Basic, which sounds like a loan.
I mean, also it just sounds like basic.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend that one.
Yeah, I've actually been to a K3 game.
Really?
Yeah, I went to Uijeongbu, FC Uijeongbu versus Seoul United about 3 years ago in a huge stadium in Uijeongbu.
And it was glorious.
It was a nice stadium, apart from the running track, obviously. But
always
nobody there apart from me and the parents of the players, some of the players. But yeah, it was as you'd expect for fourth tier,
right? Yeah,
amateur football, really. I suppose semi-professional at a push, but probably not.
Sure,
but
I think there might be a little bit more attention on those lower leagues, and I think this name change is a part of that because the K-League table is about to open up. The KFA has been talking about it for a little while, and I think that this is a move that lends itself to opening the league much more instead of Classic, Challenge, National, K3, Advanced, Basic, and then the Amateur League. So now it's just K-League 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and on down the line. So I think it's a smart move and also one that sets them up a lot better for the future. So it's taken a little while not to say Classic and Challenge, though.
You have to really think about it now.
It's something.
Concentrate.
Speaking of K-League and its fans, so these are the Diablos.
Indeed.
Who we see sometimes because we go to a lot of Seoul games.
So probably have covered the cans up, shouldn't we?
I don't know what you're talking about. What are tins? So yeah, this is a new series that we started this year to focus on supporter groups. The current one is the Diablos, but we also touched on Dejan.
Yeah.
Where you've spent a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean, with Dejan, well, with teams like Seoul and John Buckkunde we've talked about as well, there are huge teams in the K-League, and they have, therefore, more scope to have foreign fan groups, supporters groups. Whereas Dejan, less glamorous team. There are a lot of expats in Dejan. There's quite a large expat community, but there's never really been, well, certainly not in the last few years since I've been in Korea, a large foreign supporters group. So yeah, Liam Birch, who I know quite well, he talked about how there's quite a lot of different Korean supporters groups. Probably a bit too many, he thinks, that rather than just creating rather than just having 10 different supporters groups with like a handful of people in, let's not just all get behind the team, because they are all there for one reason, that's to support Dejan citizens. So why not just get behind the lads and stop the bickering and the infighting and just get on with it? But
that can be an issue at a lot of clubs.
Suwon's the same, actually.
Gwangju, Suwon, Jeju all come to mind. But if you're new to K-League, if you've caught on to us recently and this is your first video watching, thank you for that. But also, this is a nice way to get involved with the league if you don't want to go nuts and obsess about it like we do on a week-to-week basis. These are some like-minded folks that you can get with and watch games. So again, we've talked about Seoul, we've talked about Daejeon, we've talked about Incheon supporters, we've talked about Jeonbuk Hyundai supporters. Up next, we're going to feature Sungnam, and then after that, we're going to hopefully go down to Daegu and all over the place. So if you're a part of a supporters group and you want to be featured, just comment in the little doobly-doo.
Get in touch.
And we'll get you on there. Because, we want more people involved this year. So, moving on. We also had a kit competition this year.
Yeah.
So these are from last year, but we do have a winner from this year, and I'll make sure that I don't butcher his name here, because it's not even that difficult. Francesco Spirazzana, sorry. He designed this lovely Gyeongnam kit. So they're coming back. Nice. I was going to say they're coming back to Classic. They are not.
They're not.
They're coming up to K1.
That's it. All these years have been trying to get back to Classic, and then they can't do that.
They can't even do it.
They can't even do that.
But I think if Gyeongnam took the field in these, I would be quite pleased.
Oh, that's a nice kit. And actually, as the article we'll talk about in great detail, there's a lot of thought gone into this. It's not just that it looks nice, because it does. Yeah. But there's reasons why there's certain things on it, certain details. So you should check that out because it's interesting.
So he went through a little bit of his design process on the site with a quick interview for us. And there's a lot of nice detail in the sash here. And I mean, my favorite thing is the yellow on the shorts.
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's nice. So yeah, congratulations to him. And we'll do this again next year. Do this all the time. So that one was a lot of fun. Speaking of kits, coming back to it, we've got these bad boys.
Yeah.
So thank you to Retro Game Bar. We have kits for this year. Last year we had the black one in the corner there. This year, in honor of RGB, we have red, green, and blue. Pretty happy about these.
Yeah, they're nice. It's the first time I've seen them in the flesh.
So
and they're really nice.
Standard ol, and then on the back we have K-League United and 15 for the year that we started. There have been some questions why 15. We started in 2015, so
that's usually how many cans Matt has before he does a live video.
Yes, also that. You don't need to troll through our videos to see what we're talking about.
Yeah,
but you could. It's Saturday.
So where can people get a hold of these?
Yeah, so you can get a hold of those today at Retro Game Bar. We have a FIFA tournament, our monthly FIFA tournament, coming up at 4:30 today. So if you want to stop by, say hello, buy Paul an adult beverage.
That would be always welcome. Yep.
It makes him better at FIFA. So we'll be there.
So we're confident.
And also, we have these available online, unlike most K-League clubs.
Yes, in English. Unlike
so
most K-League clubs.
If you want to get one of these, they are only 25,000, and they're also kind of a fundraiser for us for the site to help maintain costs and equipment and other things, because as of right now we have a microphone
and one whatever this is.
Prop.
We could have more than one of these. Just think how many of these we could have if you buy even just one shirt.
We could fill the studio with those. But yeah, so they're available on the site. So everything that we just talked about, supporters section, the kit competition, our kits, everything's on the site. So all that fun stuff aside, let's move into the nitty gritty. The FIFA tournament tonight now. There have been a lot of interesting transfers.
They have.
We did our whole rundown the last show of all of our transfers for each team. But moving right into it, who's been the highlight for you so far?
Well, for me, it's got to be Adriano to John Book. I know him fairly well because from his time at Deadron, but obviously he was prolific at Seoul as well once he left, and to go to John Book, who are already strong, obviously they were the strongest last year. The transfer business that they've done so far this winter has made them just get to like even next level that the other teams only aspire to get to. So him with Lopez, and another person that we'll touch on in a little bit. They already have Kim Chinook, who when he wants to play,
when he's on,
we saw him in that game in the East Asia Cup.
Yeah,
he scored two, didn't he, against Japan, and he was on fire that day. And obviously he was last year at least the highest earning player in the K League.
Yes,
it's obviously a big deal, and you're wondering where he's going to fit into this team now. And obviously Edon Guk is obviously like a cameo kind of role player these days.
The super sub, sure.
Super sub, but they've got a strong attack now, and with Adriano, it's their title.
I think for me, just generally speaking about transfers, the thing that I've noticed this year is that I think the league is being a lot more aggressive. Teams are being a lot more aggressive league-wide, I should say, instead of the league, about replacing outgoing players. I think last year a lot of us were a little crestfallen with how many of the elite players were transferred out, and then there wasn't much coming back in. Last time we talked about transfers, we talked about Daeon's move to Suwon, and it was just immediate, like, Jonathan's gone, and Daeon is not a Jonathan replacement. He's not the same player, but it was this really quick move to fill a huge gap, and I think that teams are doing that much better this year.
And what teams are doing is, not all teams, but some teams are bringing in players that have actual K-League experience.
Yes.
Which is important.
Yeah.
Because it's always a gamble when you bring a foreign player into any league.
Yeah.
Will they adapt? And even teams like Ulsan are doing it as well. They're signing, like, Junior, his transfer finally went through this week from Daegu to Ulsan. He got 12 goals and 12 starts last year in that period of time where Daegu were really, really, really strong.
Yeah.
So he's a good signing. And, it just shows that he's already got the experience of playing in the K-League, and hopefully, for Ulsan's sake, he'll hit the ground running.
Yeah, you throw him up there with Orsha and hopefully Lee Jung-ho get better.
When he's fit again,
Yeah.
Finally, because we criticise Ulsan for being a little bit dull, lacking goals, but they're happy to try and get a 0-0 or a 1-0 win and kind of shut up shop. If they can add some attacking intent to their lineup, there's no doubting that they're strong at the back.
And Junior's really a great
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
So some of the key ones, which we touched on, Junior is definitely in that list. But we spoke with Dylan McGowan very briefly, Gangwon's new on loan center back.
Yeah.
Australian center back, as is the usual for Aussies in this league. He was nice enough to answer a few questions for us while in Thailand training with the team. Brief rundown of where he's played. He started his career at Hearts over in Scotland. Pretty impressive side to get going with. Found the field more with, I'm not going to say it, East Fife.
East Fife, yeah.
I didn't mispronounce it. Good. Played 2,000 minutes for them and then came back to A-League on loan, went to Hearts. Really made his name with Adelaide United, which I think some K-League fans will remember him with Adelaide. He's been here for ACL before.
Yeah, he's won league titles at Adelaide as well.
He's won everything you can win with Adelaide, except for ACL.
Yeah. Don't
feel that bad about it for Adelaide. Anyway. So he's got a really impressive resume so far. He is currently in the Portuguese First Division. He's on loan, trying to get into the World Cup. You've watched some highlights from him. We watched some highlights. What are your impressions of him?
Really impressed because he's aggressive. I mean, it's. I shouldn't generalise, but Australian centre-backs, Australian players have that edge.
Yeah.
That competitive edge. Mm-hmm. They're assertive and aggressive, and he's no different to that. Right. But not only he reads the game well as well. A lot of the things that I've seen him do, he's anticipated things, cut things out without needing to go in strong in the tackle. And he's exactly the kind of player that I think would fit into the K-League style of play. Yeah. It's quite physical, as we know. Mm-hmm. And it's what Gnome have been needing. They've got a good squad if they keep hold of the people like Egan Ho and Judge on Cook. So adding someone like him to be able to build from the back and just really protect the keeper, it's a good signing.
Yeah, and we touched on this a little bit in our full-on transfer show last time, which is still available here on Facebook if you want to watch it. Gangwon only held 3 clean sheets last year.
Yeah,
3.
I think he'll definitely help with that.
So, I mean, I think he's a solid pickup there. He's young. He's got something to prove. And if you want to hear his thoughts on how he's going to fit into K-League and everything else, our interview with him is also on the site right now.
Well, one thing I will say finally about him is that I do believe there's an option if the loan goes well to sign permanently.
Oh.
I do believe that's true. And I think because of how well Matthew German has done for Suwon
and found his way into the full national squad, he's likely going to the World Cup.
Surely, yeah. Unfortunately, he's injured at the moment, so he won't be in action for Suwon until probably April. But yeah, because of him, thanks to him, proving that coming to the K-League is a route into the Socceroos team, which is aspirations for people like Connor Chapman, obviously people like Dylan McGowan as well. It now thinks, okay, we can go and play at a good level, and even though we're not in Australia or not in Europe, we can still make our way into the Socceroos team.
Well, and it's different from when the likes of Robbie Cornthwaite was here with the Dragons and Alex Wilkinson with Jumbuk.
Yeah.
They kind of maintained their status, whereas I think Matt German proved that you can come here and increase your status. And he played really well, and that changed the landscape in that way, because this is a league that loves Australian centre backs.
Yes. And with Connor Chapman, no disrespect to Incheon United, but Pohang are a team that are well decorated.
They're the most successful in Asian Champions League.
So him moving to Pohang Steelers, it's a big move, it's a good move.
I mean, there's nobody that's following K-League that's not going to admit that Pohang is a bigger club than Incheon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just if they're higher profile, they're going to finish top of the table more. Fingers crossed for Incheon's success this year.
Well, actually, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Incheon United because their CEO, Kang In-dok, he said that he's targeting a top 6 finish for the team. We're going to make some adjustments at management level and behind the scenes to try and do that. And they are targeting foreign strikers. To come in to their team. They're supposed to be in talks with some players that have played in Europe as well. So it's ambitious. Set up there just to be a good team to go on and try and at least compete for the top half of the table. So certainly has the infrastructure. They just need to try and keep hold of players that will stay there and try and build.
And being more aggressive in the transfer window. And we talk about transfers a lot. It's important to remember that this transfer window goes through March. So there have been some big moves already, but teams are going to have time, to hit the field and figure out what they need and continue on from there. That'd be great if Incheon was able to do a bit more. I see we've got quite a few questions that came in on Facebook, so why don't we take a minute and run through those before we move on here. And Dylan will just keep us company this whole time. Okay,
so let's just scroll down. Where's Scott? Jun Kim's asking where is Scott. He is quite ill. Failed a late fitness test. We had him running up and down the car park. Wasn't quick enough, so we had to send him home. We have Isok Chang has suggested that we talk about Songnam supporters for our In the Stands, From the Stands series.
That you will be very happy. We are talking to 48 Shades of Football podcast co-host Mark Kelly. He has the questions in hand. He's going to be getting them back to us really soon. So Songnam will actually be the next club featured.
Yeah, we have thought about Songnam. So it's good to see that people actually want to read about Songnam supporters. So stay tuned for that one. And Jun Kim was also asking, can Suwon challenge John Book this season?
Yes.
You think so?
No. I don't. I mean, you know, and we'll. I don't know, because both clubs are fighting on three fronts. They have the league, Champions League, and ACL. And we'll touch on ACL in a little bit. We'll talk about Suwon's upcoming match on Tuesday. So they're not in the group stages yet.
Not quite.
Nothing's guaranteed for them. And Jeonbuk's going to be stretched real thin when the World Cup comes around. I mean, the league's taking a break, but that's going to affect team cohesion. So they might be able to get around it with that, but Jeonbuk has just been so smart with their foreign signings. They're so strong. And you could give me their 4 foreigners on any team in this league with a solid goalkeeper, and I'd say, yep, they got a chance to win the league.
Yeah.
So I want to say yes.
I think, in my opinion, Suwon, with the signings that they've made, have jumped up a level, and so have Jeonbuk. So there's always going to be that little gap between them, and we'll talk about it a bit later on in terms of our where we think teams are going to finish, or not finish, but be in
after like 10 rounds.
10 rounds.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be reflective of that. That Suwon have made some great signings on paper, at least.
Yes.
But Jeonbuk have signed players that are just superstars at this level in the K-League. Adriano and
I think more than anything that we could hypothesize about, anything that we could talk about, any articles we could write, Suwon's going to have to prove that. Suwon could have challenged for the title last year.
Yeah.
But they fell apart. They had a horrible stretch of games where they just couldn't find wins. They didn't play well at home last year.
They didn't, yeah.
So, I mean, if Suwon's going to contend, they're going to be the ones to answer that question. And until we can see some consistency out of a so-managed club, I can't say yes to that. You know? So, we'll see. I would love them to, because not having a runaway winner after 2 months would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And
yeah.
Any more?
For the time being, no.
All right. Keep them coming in. We'll take a break every now and again to answer your questions. We can't necessarily get to them right away, but we will definitely stop and touch on them. And speaking of the returning champions, the strong got stronger, and this isn't even their strongest signing we're going to talk about.
Yeah, this is a real statement of intent, isn't it? This is, I mean, already runaway champions last year. All right, they did lose a couple of players. They've Ed left. He's now gone to Songnam, and
didn't really have the strongest season. He played for Daegu, then came over for Jeonbuk, and I don't think he was really able to hit that next gear.
Yeah, and then Edu is retired after a fairly strong final season.
He did. Credit to him. He had a much stronger final year than he did when he came back in 2016, where he looked like a shell of himself. The 2016, the less said about his year that year, the better. But Thiago Alves, speaking of Songnam fans, you'll recognize him.
Yeah, his record for Songnam, obscene. Yeah.
Well, we talked about it a little bit before we came on for this. When I was living down in Gwangyang, I went to a Dragons game, and he single-handedly tore them to shreds. The Dragons were up 1-0, looked like they were doing well, and he, whether it was his pace on the wings or coming up the middle, he's good on the ball, and he just tore them apart. He scored a hat trick. They won 3-1.
Well, he that season he tore most teams apart, because in 19 starts he got 13 goals.
That's a pretty good return.
Yeah, and he's still only 25. He's been around Asian football in the K-League, because he had to play at Pohang Steelers as well. He was over in Japan as well for a couple of seasons ago, and he's been around for a while, but he's still only 25, and he's not even reached his peak years yet. Right.
And again,
whereas Adriano he's 30 now.
Right. Who we'll touch on in just a second.
Yeah.
But just such a smart signing from Jeonbuk.
Makes perfect sense. Perfect sense.
Like you say, it'll be really interesting to see how they line up with him and Lopez.
A 4-2-4. How are they going to fit him all in?
You know what? We'll have some fun with this. If you have some formation predictions for Jeonbuk, go ahead and put them in the comments. And you know what? After we talk about the Adriano signing, we'll say what kind of formations they're going to go with. Because I have ideas, and they're probably wrong. But we'll touch on those. So really, really impressive. Just go look at some of his highlights from his time with Songnam, or his time over in the Middle East with Al Hilal, I believe it was. Yeah. Solid player. Speaking of former players, former players that are coming back, Brazilians, which is the
theme
yet again for K-League. But unlike years previously, where there were guys coming in that we hadn't heard of, William Pop, not William Pop. He played for Busan Park. He was actually our Goal of the Year winner back in 2016. Was our Goal of the Year winner with Busan that year. Had a nice little flick over that he then hit on the volley. We were talking a little bit about this, that it's smart to have proven K-League players come back. This is a guy that knows the country. He's played at this level before, and he's a goal scorer.
Yeah.
I was pretty impressed with him in the little bit that I saw him at Busan.
Mm-hmm.
And just like we were talking about when Suwon sold Jonathan, they then went out and got Daeon. Buchan sold Wegonino, and now they've gone out and gotten Pop. So it's a nice replacement move.
Yeah.
Because we talked last time during our transfer show where the goal is going to come from.
Hopefully this guy.
Hopefully they found their guy.
Yeah. And hopefully at the new stadium, which we don't know exactly when it is going to be open.
Yeah.
But hopefully sooner rather than later, because I can't wait to go to that.
That stadium is going to be...
The design...
If it's anything like the renderings, it's going to be real nice.
Mm.
Yeah. And speaking of when they'll be at home, we are going to talk about the K-League fixtures. So we're going to wrap up this little bit about transfers, take a little break, and then we're going to come back and talk about fixtures, ACL, and we're going to do a group draw for our FIFA tournament later tonight. And by later tonight, I mean this afternoon.
Yeah.
So we're going to do all that after a little break, so stay tuned. All right.
Yes.
Moving on to the man that we can't not talk about, that we've been talking about this whole time. A lot of K-League fans are going to know the man simply known as Adriano.
Yeah, he was the sole reason why Dejan won the second division, what was then the K-League Challenge, what is now the K2, K-League 2. In 2014, he's got upward of 30 goals. And basically, it's where he made his name and got his move to Seoul a year later, 18 months later. And yeah, I mean, for me personally, because obviously we watched FC Seoul quite a lot over the last sort of year and a half, and I was not impressed with his attitude.
No.
In the second half of the season that Seoul won the league.
Yeah.
Why that was the case, I can only sort of guess. I mean, perhaps he got his head turned by potential moves to China, where he ended up going to.
Maybe, or knowing some of the things that we know now about a Huang-managed team.
Yeah, that's true.
It would not surprise me
if he fell out with the manager.
If Adriano and Hwan Sun-hong, the manager of FC Seoul, did not get
along. That wouldn't surprise me. Which I would wonder how he would fit in terms of Che Kang-hee's management style.
Yeah.
Very autocratic and stern.
Yeah.
Which is, I compare him to the Sir Alex Ferguson of the K-League. You know,
I mean, he's got the titles to back that up.
He's got the titles, and he's got that kind of aura about him where he's, frankly, looks quite scary, actually. I wouldn't want to get on his bad side.
No. He does smile, though. We have photographic evidence that Che Kang-hee smiles.
Wow.
Yeah.
How?
He smiled with Los Cruzados Verdes, who are profiled on the site.
He's in his prime. He's 30 years old. He's perhaps got a point to prove now, because he went to China. Didn't do too well in the second division. Clearly, he wanted to come back to K-League. He's been commenting on
all over Instagram.
All over Instagram.
Yeah.
Commenting on FC Seoul's pictures that they upload, graphics.
Yeah.
Sending pictures and tagging Kim Chan-hee, who's a Daejeon player who played up front with in that championship winning year in the second division. Clearly, he was dying to move back to K-League. Yeah. And you don't get much better than Jeonbuk Hyundai, or actually you don't get any better than Jeonbuk Hyundai, because they won the league last year. They're going to be my pick to win the league again this year. So yeah, he'll be delighted. He'll have a point to prove. He'll be feeling great to be back.
Yeah.
That strike force with him.
Well, and after not being able to defend their 2016 ACL title for reasons.
He won the ACL Golden Boot 2016.
He is still the AFC Champions League single season highest scorer. I think he finished with 13.
Ridiculous. He scored, I think, 4 of those in the first game.
Yeah.
Because I was at that game.
This was when he was with Seoul.
Yeah, I was at that game. and he was unstoppable. On his day, he's unstoppable, unplayable.
Yeah. So I think if they can figure out how to keep him happy and how to be productive, which to me he was his most productive when he was at Seoul, and it was that 1-2 punch with him and Daeon.
Mm-hmm.
He's got someone real similar in Kim Shin-wook.
Yeah.
Which actually leads into... so those are the transfers for now. Obviously, there are a lot more. There are some that we didn't cover. If there's some you want us to touch on in the second half that you feel like we did, leave them in the comments, and we'll get to it after our little break. But speaking of him and Kim Shin-wook, I'm throwing this over to you first.
Okay.
And you can dilly-dally and see if we have anybody with their comments. Formation for Jeonbuk this year with these two key signings. What do you think?
Well, I do quite like Kim Shin-wook.
Yeah.
Because he's a focal point. And in the modern day, teams play with a front three with like sort of inverted wingers, if you want to call it that. Having a focal point does work well, I think.
Especially in K-League.
Yeah, if you can have someone to bring the ball down and play others in, that works well. But if you play Kim Shin-wook, that means you have to leave one of Lopez, Adriano, and Thiago out. Who do you leave out? Who do you play down the middle? If it's not Kim Shin-wook, I'd probably say Adriano, because he likes to play off the shoulder of the last man, and he's not known for his work rate, so playing him on the wing might not be a good idea. Play him down the middle, and then you'd have Lopez and Thiago on either side. That would what I would go with, I think. If you need a plan B or another option, then you bring on Kim Shin-wook. It's a long season, so you're going to have to play against teams that will have physical centre halves like Dylan McGowan, who we've touched on. Who someone on Facebook has said Kai Barry. Dylan is also very good with his feet.
Oh, okay.
And play out from the back. So yeah. So
which Gangwon certainly needs. Yeah, they need all the help on that back line they can get. Last year was a disaster.
Always poor. So yeah, my point being that if you have to play against someone like him, then you can play Kim Shin-wook and have that that physical battle. When it's teams that play out from the back, you might want to play Adriano down the middle. But it's not easy though. I mean, you could go through so many combinations of that front four.
I mean, it's not a bad problem to have.
Oh,
if you're Jae Kang-hee, this is a problem you want.
Yes.
For me, it's that radical formation of a 4-4-2. Right. So for me, I think you've got Lopez and Thiago technically as midfielders who are going to play way more advanced. They're going to be a bit suspect defensively, but I think Jeonbuk proved that if you just play, well, then you got EJ Sung in there too.
As a number 10. An Lee Sung-gi.
So if you
Jeonbuk's team is ridiculous.
This team is ridiculous. I'm sticking with a 4-4-2. You got those two out. They're going to play more as wingers than midfielders. EJ Sung's going to come up and join the attack every now and again. Deep lying center back or defensive mid, and that back line last year, they were untouchable.
Kim Min-jae,
Kim Jin-soo. They're not. You're not going to touch that back line.
Yeah.
So you got these two guys coming up on the wings. Or not these two guys. You got him up top with Kim Shin-wook is how I would do it.
Right, okay.
Get that 1-2 going with them. You got Dangerous from the outside. And then if you somehow shut down those four, you have last year's MVP in the middle of the field in EJ Sung.
Yeah.
That's why, again, going back to like, can Suwon challenge?
They can challenge. Will they beat Jeonbuk over the course of the season? I'm not sure. No, I can't see it.
I can't see it happen. No. And it's a bit of a shame because we could stand to have more of a title race. And maybe we will. Maybe we will. That's why we all.
Well, I've been impressed with Ulsan's transfer activity. Yeah.
So hopefully
Ulsan can step up because they only just got 4th place last year. They kind of fell off the cliff a little bit. So with their transfer activity, with Suwon's transfer activity, they can at least try and push Jeonbuk, close that gap a little bit.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it'll be interesting. So again, if you have any comments of how you would line up Jeonbuk this year or where you think the challenge for them is going to come from, please by all means leave it in the comments. Before we get out of here real quick, we have one more thing to talk about with transfers.
Oh, yes.
So Michael Essien, formerly of Chelsea, there are rumors that he could be on his way to Korea.
Yeah, it's kind of came out of nowhere, and we were talking about who that could be, or rather Matthew Bind was sort of having a think about who could afford him. We didn't expect it to be
My Gnome Dragons.
Gnome Dragons.
Who are rumored, which I mean, I just saw in the Korea Herald recently that Posco had a good year, but I mean, they couldn't have had that good of a year that they're going to invest Michael Essien money in the Gnome Dragons. I mean, it'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But I think as far as transfers go, this is the kind of signing I do want to see in this league. Like, obviously, he's past his prime. We don't know what kind of legs he's got left in him. But people know his name.
He would definitely sell shirts.
He would sell shirts, and in a year when you've got a lot of eyes on the league because Korea's going to the World Cup, you get a star that's not going to the World Cup, and you can allow him to shine while the Korean players are also off training, and there's not as much pressure on them to be the absolute superstars of the league when you can just put that pressure on somebody else for a minute.
Yeah, and plus, in the role that he would perhaps play in that defensive midfield role, he's not going to be a box-box midfield player that he used to be. No. So in that defensive midfield player role, you don't lose the intelligence and the touch to sort of play in that role.
Right.
So he wouldn't need to do a lot of running, really. It'd just be his brain and his feet that he'd need to... The teams need to get the best out of.
Well, and if it's Gnome, you've got Kim Young-uk, who's been really surprising, and he's going to be running up and down, going crazy in the midfield. So you can afford that deep lying position to not run a ton.
Yeah. It'd be great if he did come to any K-League team, just because it would be someone that's a genuine... age is... he's not young anymore, but he is a big star. He was a big star in the Premier League in England, so it'd be good to see someone of that ilk come to K-League, just for any team that buy him, just from a commercial point of view.
Right, yeah. So we'll see. It was recently noted that, thanks to Korea Football News for this, in Indonesian media, his current manager has denied any reports that he could be on the move to K-League. But it's silly season. So who knows if that's true? Who knows if this rumor to begin with was true? But I think
you have to look at these things in the case of who's saying this. Is it the agent trying to force teams to up their offer or force their hand? Because it's silly season and the window's got a long way to go. As you said before, right up until March through March, right? So who knows? I mean, if he wants to move, it would be a step up, I think, from where he is now to come to K-League. So
certainly higher profile. Yeah, especially if he was able to get into a Champions League club, which would also be really good for marketing.
True, and also that
Jeonbuk doesn't have room.
No,
I believe Jeju has room. For
Jeju does have room. Yeah, Jeju does have room. I'm not sure.
Lee Chang-min sticking around after that move didn't go through.
Which I'm very pleased about.
Yes, be very nice to have him back in the league this year.
I like
could be an interesting midfield.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I personally just for the, like you're saying, the marketing value, just for the namesake, to have a world recognized player in the league, I personally think it'd be a good signing. If you agree or disagree, by all means, let us know in the comments, which we're going to touch on again.
Yeah, we do. Now. We do have a question from Marwan Al Black. He is asking us, if we think Jeonbuk can be the champions of Asia again this year.
Yes.
I agree. Yeah.
Hands down.
The current champions, Ura Reds, aren't in the competition. They had quite a poor season in J-League for their standards.
I think they finished 7th.
I do believe that, and without the current champions in it, last year, I don't think any team really, apart from Ura, who were very good in the ACL, really looked like they were the out-and-out best team.
And we should qualify and say in East Asia, because of the time difference, we don't get to watch a lot of the West Asian side of things.
Yes, very true.
I think there were a lot of strong teams out West.
Yeah.
But those games come on at like 1 or 2 in the morning for us. So it's unfortunately something we can't watch live very often. So getting that highlight version... all the teams look pretty good. But in East Asia, I couldn't agree more. There wasn't really a team that really planted their flag and staked their claim as the best, the way Jeonbuk did back in 2016.
Yes. So I think with the signings that I keep saying the same thing, but with the signings that they've made, and with the hunger, sometimes that's more important. They will still be smarting from not being in the competition last year, and Czech Hang especially will probably be thinking, right, well, we need to prove that if we were in the competition last year, that we were going to go on and win it again. So, I do believe they will win the K-League won the K-League title and at least get to the semis of the ACL.
I agree. I do think the league is theirs. Yeah. I think we should just call that what it is, where we feel, I mean, almost all of us on staff coming into this year, the league is Jumbooks. And I don't even know how hard they're going to have to work for it, because that roster is so talented and so deep. When you look at some of their bench options, I'd take those guys in a starting 11 a lot of times.
Yeah.
So the league is very much in their favor, and ACL, they've built themselves for it.
Yes,
again, because of that depth.
Yeah.
Because of their smart foreign signings. They are not, however, going to win the treble, because Buchan's going to knock them out of the FA Cup again. Again. For the third year in a row, and it's going to happen.
Willigan Pop will score the winner.
He sure is. But legitimately, I don't think Jumbook's going to do well in the FA Cup.
Really?
I don't think they care about it.
That's true.
And to be fair to them, yeah, good on you. I mean, honestly, they should be focusing. They want the big titles, and with where it is, the FA Cup just it's third on that list.
Yeah.
And as far as payouts go, you can get $4 million for AFC Champions League, $500,000 US for K-League 1, and I think you get new T-shirts if you win the FA Cup. I mean, I think it's maybe $25,000 US or something. I don't know. I should look into this. I shouldn't just throw out numbers.
We didn't look into this before.
So we'll try to find it. But
prioritize
double, absolutely. They are unquestionably coming in favorites for K-League, and I think when you look at how things stack up in their group in ACL, and also just the teams that are coming in the East, I think they've got a real good shot.
I agree.
Especially at least representing the East. We'll see who comes out of the West.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But, they play really well there.
Yeah. That's it in terms of comments on Facebook.
Good questions. So if you have anything else, any transfers we didn't touch on, if you want to order a kit, anything along those lines, we're going to take a quick 10-15 minute break, and then we're going to come back. We're going to talk about the fixtures, which K-League 2's fixtures were finally released.
Finally! I've been waiting to plan away trips to new stadiums for, since the season ended.
Since the season ended, just about, so the fixtures are out. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about our highlights of the fixtures, the matches we're looking forward to.
Yes.
And we're going to dig into ACL a little bit more, because it's somehow kicking off here in Korea on Tuesday.
Yes.
Luckily not this past Tuesday when it was minus 20 that night. So we will be down in a very frigid Suwon Big Bird Stadium on Tuesday.
Yeah, and I'm gonna check the weather forecast for Tuesday in Suwon, because I'm gonna try and sell it to our audience.
Yeah.
So if you're in the Gyeonggi-do area, you should come
out, bundle up, stay warm. There are things you can drink that help keep you warm.
Like tea,
like hot chocolate. Things along those lines. So we'll talk about ACL, and also
minus 13. Is it that bad? Minus 13? Scott's saying minus 13
on Tuesday. Gear up for it.
Well, that's an improvement on minus 20. It might feel a bit warmer.
This scarf is very warm, so.
And I'll wear this extra layer.
Extra layers. And then so we'll touch on the fixtures. We'll touch on ACL, and we will also draw the groups for today's FIFA 18 tournament.
Yay!
At Retro Game Bar. So. Questions, comments, concerns, get them in, and we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. And I'm going to come up to the camera and awkwardly turn it off. Thanks for watching. Hey, thanks so much for watching.
If you like the video, make sure to click like below, and then click subscribe to get more from us.
Click here.
Oh, we're putting it here.
We're putting it here.
Oh, sorry, you're going here.
It's going to go right here.
Okay.
We'll see once you're here.
Thank you.